it's Catherine from Moonstarlodge. About a week ago, it's January 6th today, so around about New Year's, Brian and I decided to film my tarot space. It's the entirety of my collection, how I store some of it, and sort of brief rationale about why I organize things the way I do. And so we thought we'd present that to you. It has my altars, and it's short and sweet, so enjoy. Hello friends, it's Catherine. I thought I would show you my library office space where I do my research and have my collection. Right now Brian is focused on the little fireplace that's in my office, and on it I have altar-like, well, it is an altar, it's not altar-like. I've got my collection of crystal pyramids and healing pyramids, as well as some crow and raven memorabilia, and an angel lamp from my friend Kim. And as Brian moves along, you're seeing one of the tables I sit at. The table I shoot the videos on is on wheels, and it's moved into another room right now as we prepare to do some New Year's videos. But right there, what you're looking at is an antique Credenza, and on it is my card holder and a number of personal items. So again, it's like an altar space. Behind it, there are some plants in the window that desperately need some attention. It's the wrong time of year for orchids. But anyway, that's my altar space, and it has all the elements represented. The sacred geometry, Merkabas and things, dodecahedrons, icosahedrons, that sort of thing. And as we move around to the left of that table is a narrow bookshelf that contains my Buddhist and Eastern philosophical tarots, some Afro-Caribbean tarot, Central South American tarot, and some Celtic tarot. So I have a number of divisions within that particular shelf. As we move along here, I'm just going to open a cabinet for you. This is an old CD cabinet that has been converted into an oracle cabinet, and in it I have Goddess Tarot and Oracle at the moment, Fairy Tarot and Oracle, some generic oracles and divination supplies from way back many years, and that's a lockable cabinet, so that's important to me that some of these are under lock and key. So I'm not sure exactly where Brian is. He's on the back cabinet, I guess. So that's a cabinet he made out of material salvaged from a church in Toronto. The church has been functional for at least 180 years, and they were just going to throw this beautiful old pine in the dumpster. So I asked him to make me another shelf, and I'm in the midst of reorganizing it. This is sort of some Celtic, some philosophical tarot on the top. The very top ones are ones I don't access a lot, but they're there for research. I have the tarot out of the middle of the second shelf down. This shelf here are all my Samhain spooky decks. I have my astrological and galactic decks here. I have my indigenous and shamanic decks here, and then Chinese and relationship decks on the bottom shelf. This little tiny shelf is all angel decks, so that's its own little entity. And I'm going to move out of the way so Brian can pan to this other very large shelf. This was one of the originals made by my friend Mason Cromwell, and it has some old tarots. It's got runic, Viking, Norse tarot. It has runes and other divination, some contemporary tarot in it. I have dogs, cats, dolphins, animal tarots, all of them divided by category. This is a mix of tarot and oracle on that particular shelf. On the tops of the shelves, I'm not sure if Brian's getting that, you're going to see some sacred objects. Because we do weddings and things in this room, we do sacred ceremony right here in this space. We have other rooms in the home that we utilize for that purpose as well. I have some of the dolls I've made and some personal objects in here. And moving across to the desk, actually. My desk area has all my skulls on it, unless the cats come in and decide they need to rearrange the order of the skulls. So far we haven't had any accidents, but there are a lot of crystal and personal objects there, and that's important to me. I wasn't always in this room. At one point my office was in with Brian, but we needed the space for shooting videos, so 2 years ago we started the transition from me into here. The final shelf he's now looking at is an interesting shelf. The very bottom row across those 3 shelves are all my research books, and there's 123 books. But this particular set of cabinets, I'll come over here for a moment. These are not by category of topic, but rather decks I've paired and work with together. This shelf here is my Rider-Waite tarot collection. These are Lenormand decks. These are Pagan Wiccan decks. Down here are some unusual decks. They're my Marseille decks there, and some historic decks. These are decks, again, more historic decks in here. A lot of the low Scarabeo, but other numbered decks. These are gypsy, kipper kind of decks. These are ones I've pulled together in pairs to work, the same as that shelf up there. Kabbalistic and Egyptian tarots there. All my artist tarots, so things like Dolly and the Marielle tarot, and ones I know are from specific artists. The final little shelf over there are the odds and sods, and those odds and sods are precious but not in active circulation, so they stay behind the door. This is a collection of by the time all my Kickstarters and books and things that I haven't received, not books so much but decks, I should have over 1,200 pieces. And if a book belongs to a deck, I don't count that as a separate book. The books that I consider separate are individual tomes that have been written specifically on history or archival information or philosophy, that sort of things. And they are not paired with decks, so they are listed in a separate category called books. So people have been asking, those in the local area that come to visit and have readings. They have a reading in this room on the table that you see with, when I do the videos, it usually sits at 90 degrees to the table that I work at. And the querent sits in a big comfy chair. I don't know if Brian wants to pan to that or not, but it's a big comfy chair behind Brian. And when our child, Aunt Jenny, came home for the holidays, she called it the psychiatrist chair. It's a big old comfy leather thing, so there may be some truth in that. So I hope you like this little walk through and roll through my sacred tarot space.